Hello, everyone. This is Luis Concepcion from Strategic Profit Line Trading, coming to you with the plan of the week for week number 42. The following are disclosures. This information is for educational purposes only, not providing any investment advice. This information is not tailored to any one individual, and everybody must understand their time horizon. Past performance does not guarantee future results, and all investment involves risk. As always, here's our agenda. I'll be covering the news, provide a market overview of the indices, and earnings is starting to ramp up now that the banks reported on Friday, and a slew of banks are reporting this week. We got 141 companies reporting this week, so be mindful of that. Here's our week 41 results. Provided 12 zones. Things are in progress, so nothing hit profit this week. So pay mindful. In progress, we got Domino's Pizza, NEOG, BSNV, and then the only thing that closed in the zone on Friday was Fast. So pay attention to that this week for those of you who made those entries. Here's what the earning outlook looks like this week. Again, slow day on Monday. We have no news either, but as you can see, things ramp up on Tuesday through Friday with a slew of earnings, and I'll be covering a lot of these companies to see if we can find some opportunities for us this week. Moving into the news for this week, as you can see on Monday, we have no news, as I alluded to earlier. The only thing that's being affected is the British pound for those of you trading futures and Forex, and that's not going to happen till late in the evening. Moving on to Tuesday, the Canadian dollar will be affected pre-market. So for, again, futures and Forex traders, be mindful of the Canadian dollar's movement early in the morning, pre-market. And then the New Zealand dollar will be affected in the afternoon. The U.S. market will not be affected again, and it's because of all the earnings that start Tuesday. As you can see, the British pound also will be affected. They have their CPI report at in the evening at 11 p.m. Moving on to Wednesday, nothing affecting the U.S. markets. Again, it's because earnings season is amongst us. And you can see the Australian dollar will be affected. So be mindful of that for anybody in an Australian dollar trade. Pre-market between 5:30 5:30 in the evening. My apologies, aftermarket. Moving on to Thursday, the euro will be affected in the morning, so that should have some impact on the US dollar, which in turn will have effect on the US market. So you can see that we have three reports pre-market, so be mindful, and we might have some volatility on Thursday morning at the open with three reports, main one being the unemployment claims. Then moving on to Friday, no news again. That's going to do it for us with the news this week. Moving into our charts for this week, we got a lot to cover this week and a lot of companies. So, with that being said, the SPX made an all-new time high again last week on the cash index. That level, that high was 58.22. The first level I have for you on the demand side is 56.43.14 to 5,600 even. Moving on to the NASDAQ. As you can see, this level is still holding for us on the NASDAQ. It already worked once. So the NASDAQ is currently weaker than the S&P 500. This level is still intact. And on the supply side, I have 22.53 to 25.92. On the demand side, 19.485 to 19.285. So we have a lot of wiggle room to the downside if the NASDAQ decides to remain weaker than the S&P 500. Moving on to the Dow, as you can see, the Dow is stronger than the NASDAQ, making an all-new time high as well, just like the S&P 500. And the first level I have for you on demand is 416.39 to 414.33. If the market can continue higher, this is going to be a more aggressive level. However, that level is going to be 425 to 422 on the Dow Jones. Moving on to the rut. As you can see, the rut pretty much is still in a rut, not moving. This is an aggressive zone. That level is going to be 21.37 and 21.17 on the demand side. And our levels are still the same for our supply at 23.25 to 23.70. And as you can see, the Russell has been in a sideways pattern throughout the duration of most of the year. Moving into earnings, first company I have for you is UNH. UNH is pretty much at all-time highs. Its all-time high was 607.94. First demand level I have for you is sitting at 509.75 to 477.92. Next coming I have for you is Bank of America. So on the demand side, we got 3103 to 3025, and on the supply side, 4516 to 4654. In the event of an overshoot, just realize you have another level right on top of it at 4733 to 4868. Next company I have for you is Citi. On the supply side, 6963 to 7469, and on the demand side, 4568 to 4426. Next company I have for you is Charles Schwab. For those of you who don't know, check them out. They went ahead and did a split on all their ETFs this past week. So that's very interesting and probably what's brought a lot of money to the market. On the supply side, the first level I have for you is 75.31 to 76.66. Be mindful in the event of an overshoot. It has another level right here at 78.24 to 79.49. So for those of you playing options play, just if you're going to look at any strikes, just think about the 80 strike with whatever you're looking at doing. On the demand side, 57.11 to 53.54. Next company I have for you, Johnson & Johnson. On the supply side, this is the level that's been holding on 167.25 to 169.77. In the event of an overshoot, we have another level right here at 175.35 to 181.10. On the demand side, first level I have for you is 150.87 to 148.56. Next company is Progressive. So no supply on Progressive. As you can see, its all-time high was 260.46. First demand level I have for you is 238.24 to 234.06. Next company, Goldman Sachs. So Goldman Sachs at all-time highs. No supply in Goldman Sachs. First level I have for you is 471.47 to 457.69. If Goldman Sachs follows suit with all the banks that reported last week, it should have a positive earnings. However, it is at all-time highs. Next company, PNC. First supply level I have for you on PNC is 196.52 to 205.85. And on the demand side, 159.18 to 155.15. Next company, State Street. Real close to supply here. That's going to be 91.93 to 94.75. And on the demand side, 74.39 to 71.48. Next company, United Airlines. On the supply side, 74.71 to 82.96. And on the demand side, 33.95 to 31.59. Next company is JB Hunt. On the supply side, 184 to 191.58. And on the demand side, 142.13 to 136.85. Next company, SGH. On the demand side, 1573 to 1486, and on the supply side, 2854 to 2983. Next company is Fulton Financial. On the demand side, 1563 to 1488, and on the supply side, 1975 to 2034. Next company, ASML. On the supply side, 1059 to 1112.32. On the demand side, 696.79 to 670.35. Next company is Morgan Stanley. Morgan Stanley, again, another bank that made an all-time high this past week. First demand level I have for you is sitting at 105.05 to 102.99. In the event of an overshoot, you can see it has another level here at 184 to 98.81, and there is no supply in Morgan Stanley. Next company is Abbott. So for Abbott, be mindful this level has worked twice already. This level on the supply side is 118.82 to 121.54, and it has another level here at 127.52 to 131.03. Those are your supplies. On the demand side, 97.10 to 91.26, with a subsequent level right below it at 86.31 to 79.62. Next company, CFG. On the demand side, 29.78 to 28.04. On the supply side, 48.17 to 50.89. Next company, US Bank. So for US Bank on the demand side, 37.77 to 36.48. On the supply side, 48.30 to 49.99. Next company is FCCO, First Community Corporation. On the demand side, 1821 to 1755, and I do not have a supply level for you. Next company is Alcoa. On the demand side, 2822 to 2611, and on the supply side, 4979 to 5137. Next company is Kinder Morgan. No supply in Kinder Morgan. First demand level I have for you is 2233 to 2159. Next company, PPG. On the demand side, 120.15 to 118.02, and supply is pretty far fetched for us right now. It's going to be 151.80 to 159.26. Next company, Equifax. So Equifax made an all-time high at 309.63. There is no supply. As a matter of fact, I stand corrected. 298.09 to 301.73 is going to be your supply zone. And on the demand side, 264.82 to 256.92. Next company is WD-40. Realize this level has worked a couple of times, so be mindful of that. That supply zone is 268.72 to 279.16. However, it does have another, in the event of an overshoot, it does have this level here at 302.41 to 321.71 on the supply side. On the demand side, 212.86 to 207.41. Next company, Netflix. Netflix has no supply. Its all-time high was 736. First demand zone I have for you is 634.83 to 616.23. Next company I have for you is Commercia. On the demand side, 44.27 to 40.42. On the supply side, 66.24 to 71.70. Next company I have for you is Schlumberger, or Schlumberger. Excuse me. On the demand side, 36.05 to 33.75. On the supply side, 50.70 to 52 even. And the last company I have for you also reporting earnings is going to be Ally Bank. On the demand side, 30.92 to 29.05 in the event of an overshoot. You got another level here sitting at 27.86 to 26.52. And on the supply side, 46.55 to 47.62. That's going to do it for us when it comes to the charts this week. Again, we have a lot of earnings. It's just going to get a little bit more and more busier as the weeks come along. But that's what Q4 is all about. Now, that's going to do it for us this week. For those of you who are not doing so already, please go ahead and follow me on Facebook and LinkedIn so that I put right trades throughout the week. For those of you not doing so already, please subscribe to this channel. Do me a favor, hit that like button. And till next time, happy trading.